originally published in 2015 and published here in Sweden last year, has won practically all prizes you can win, actually. Well, and those of you who have read Coda, you know that it's a very different crime novel. It's kind of a psychological thriller, perhaps domestic noir, but it's like nothing you ever read before. I can promise you that. And both these novels have been extremely successful and received praise from the crime fiction community. But at the same time, you could say that they have a relatively slow pace. It's not very much action. There's a minimum of violence. No real detective characters. But still they clearly belong in this genre, and all these prizes confirm that. And I would ask you, do you read crime fiction at all, or how come that you have managed to write something that is this different from most mainstream crime fiction?
To be honest, I hadn't read much crime fiction, and not much fiction at all. At least for a long period of time, I was reading a lot when I was a child and a young girl. Then I was very much absorbed with music, and that took up all my time. So and then suddenly I that was only 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I started writing my first novel because somebody persuaded me. So I didn't, and I just started. I wasn't influenced by any literature, not crime, not other kinds of literature. I just started writing a story that I came up with, and when I started writing that one, it was very influenced by the little village that I live in, and the people there, most of all. When I started writing that, I became, I got very eager to read again. I really wanted to read everything. And I thought, no, I'm not going to read anything, not until I finish this story, because then I know that this will be 100% me. And my tone and my way of doing it, my language, and so I did it, and it was it went well with that one, and then of course I started reading a lot. It wasn't really crime fiction I read. It was more, some of the classics and some of contemporary Danish literature that I thought I should know, and so I took everything in, and just I'm not very good at reading crime fiction, even though I would love to be. But the thing is, I can't remember a thing. I can't remember details, and if there are too many characters, I can't remember who said what to whom, and who they are and what their names are and so on. So I kind of I get lost. So I prefer books that are very much focused on the characters, and not too many of them, and not so much about the plot. And I can hardly remember the storyline in my own books. I have a hard time. I had to think about this one before going on here.
So how did you get on the track of want to write?
It was really because somebody persuaded me to enter a competition about a short story competition.
Short story.
Yeah. And I did a short story. I'd been writing children's books, I should say that. I've been doing 9 of those. But I never ever thought I would write anything for adults. And somebody just said to me, well, try this one. And I was a bit confused by that, because I didn't know what to do with my life. And, and so, okay, I'll try this one. But I never thought I'd write for adults. But I did, and then things just came out. It was really this novel, this short story was just so horrible. There were so many things happening in it, and because of the competition, it could only be like 5 pages, I think, and I managed to get everything in there. It was really terrible. But I thought, this is great. I like this. I like to kill people. I like, this is great. I wanted to do more of that. And then somebody read this short story. A filmmaker in Denmark read this story and said, you should do a novel. And then I did the first novel. So it's kind of a strange way. My way into writing novels is probably a little untraditional compared to other writers.
A very common target of praise in relation to your books is that people say that they have a unique tone to them. There is a narrative voice there that makes them stand out, and often I think it touches both a little on the humorous and the absurd, and also some kind of sublimely grotesque.
Yeah.
And there is some melancholy in there. There is some irony or satire sometimes, and often all this is combined somehow. And I personally also think there is something almost fairy tale-like about it sometimes. What would you say is the origin of that tone? Is it from previously writing children's books, you think, or is it inspired by music, or by what do you think?
I actually think it's a mixture of many things. It's maybe a little bit from writing children's books. My mother is a children's books illustrator, so I've grown up with children's books and seen them in the making, But I think it's much more, or even more than that. It is probably a musical thing. When I started out writing novels, I had no tools, because I couldn't really transfer my tools from writing children's books to this thing. So I realized I was really just writing out from a sort of a musical experience. I needed to have wanted to have the sentences have a certain kind of rhythm and a certain kind of tone to them. So that was what I was using all the time. And also I'd like to say that I don't know how much you know this Danish artist up here. I think you do. Storm Petersen. You know this guy, Robert Storm Petersen. I worked 9 years at the museum of his in Copenhagen, and was doing these very funny drawings, and he had his very own way of looking at life upside down. And I, in some way, I've been really inspired by him. It's a bit like seeing the world from a child's perspective, where this kind of logic, children's logic, can sometimes be very amusing.
And that's what you're literally doing in this book. Our narrator there, I don't think we're told exactly her age, but she hasn't really started school yet.
No, she's 6, 7 years
It's her
old.
we're following all the way through the novel. It's her focus and what she experiences and so on. Was there any difficulties with writing from that perspective?
No, I think it came very natural to me. I don't know why. I really like to write from that perspective, and probably because of I've been writing these children's books, of course, but I don't have children myself, so I have to use my own experiences and just try to find the child in myself, within myself. I still remember how it was to be 6 or 7 years old, and then just try to see the world as I would have seen it, except that the world that she sees is quite different, I must say, from the world that I saw when I was 7.
I hope so.
I would have been sitting here, I think.
Since you've had that great success with that novel over there, the Coda, we say. Do you think you will go back and writing children's books again, or?
I don't know. Not right now. I think I need to write more novels, and then maybe someday I would like to write for children again. But right now I'm just focusing on the novels.
So what about your first novel, Slaktaren från Liseleje? Do you think we will get that translated soon?
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah?
Yeah,
but
that would be
there
nice.
are no plans that you know about?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No.
Well, we're hoping for that. We also got a question for you from our previous author here, from Camilla Grebe. And crime fiction often contains a lot of violence and so on. But is there anything that you absolutely would not write about?
You know, I got that question when I had written my first book. And I remember saying in an interview that I would certainly not kill a dog in a book. Because I adore dogs. And what did I do in this book? I killed a dog. And I even killed a dog that was very much resembling my own dog. And that was just terrible. I mean, I was just pushing myself out there where, you know, I was crying when I was writing that scene. There's a lot of other stuff going on in there that is not very nice. But that scene, that was the hardest one for me to write, you know. So I don't really know what to say now when you're asking, because I don't dare to answer it really, because I think I'll probably just have to do it in the next one. So I don't know, kill Hitler or something.
Well, it's great talking to you, and thank you very much. And I think we should ask Nisse to come up here again before we end this evening.
Oh, yeah.
You take the best out of everything, Nisse.
As we heard, by Ane was awarded the best to Swedish translated novel last year. But we haven't found the time to deliver the prize, the Golden Crowbar. But
now is the time. That's great.
The short motivering på svenska är en absurd och överraskande komisk tragedi.
Great.
Yesterday I told Kati Capelto congratulations in Finnish. So I tell you, till lycka.
It's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Ane Riel.
Thank you.